Well everyone, Apple has begun their big launch week where they're going to release a bunch of new hardware throughout the entire week via press release, and then we'll have some sort of event or experience on Wednesday, March 4th. But today they started off by releasing the 17E, as well as the brand new M4 iPad Air, which is exactly what we're going to talk about in this video. And while on the surface, the M4 iPad Air looks pretty much exactly the same as the M3 iPad Air, there are some things that are under the hood that I definitely think are worth mentioning, especially if you are considering getting a brand new iPad. Now, if you have an M3 iPad Air, should you get an M4 iPad Air? Probably not, but there is a world where the M4 iPad Air makes sense to someone upgrading from an older iPad. But let's talk about all the differences between the M4 and the M3 iPad Air and see if they're worth it or not. Let's get into it. But now before we continue, if you do enjoy videos like this one where we keep you up to date on all things Apple, consider subscribing to the channel and help us get to 1 million subscribers. But now let's talk about, like I said, the M4 iPad Air. First and foremost, from a starting price standpoint, the 11-inch one will remain at the same starting price of $599. Same with the 13-inch one at $799, and they both still start with 128 gigs of storage. So unlike the 17E where they doubled the storage and kept the price, this one stayed the same in both the price and the storage. So now of course the big headlining feature, which is going to be in the title of the product, which is going from the M3 to the M4 chip internally on these iPad Airs. And now again, under the hood, especially for most people, this isn't going to mean too much, but you do get some improvements. You get the 8-core CPU and then the 9-core GPU, which translate to a 30% faster chipset compared to the M3 iPad Air. And then of course I went all the way back to the M1 iPad Air, saying that we get about 2.3 times the speeds overall, which is a substantial upgrade. So if you are coming from the M1 to the M4, you will see a good difference. M3 to M4, probably not as much. But then again, that does give you some rendering and ray tracing capabilities on the M4 iPad Air, which is great for gaming and things of that nature. But for me, the biggest one is going to be a byproduct of going to the M4 chip, which is that we now get 12 gigs of RAM standard on the M4 iPad Air compared to 8 gigs of RAM. And again, this is all about future-proofing for Apple Intelligence and AI, but again, nothing has really come from that, so hopefully WWDC gives us something good to look forward to. But again, in order for all that AI stuff to be happening and to enable that, you need more RAM, which does give you better performance, efficiencies, and power overall internally on these M4 chips. So 12 gigs of RAM on the M4 iPad Air is a welcome addition. Apple does have this whole section in their press release, which I will link down below, talking about what the 12 gigs of RAM enable and the M4 chip enable, which is a lot of Apple Intelligence and AI speak. So better high memory bandwidth, on-device AI, better creator workflows, better photo editing and photo search. Again, all things that will come into fruition as a byproduct of adding some more RAM inside of the M4 iPad Air, and also they added some memory bandwidth as well, going from 100 gigabytes per second to 120 gigabytes per second, which is a nice and welcome upgrade. And then the iPad again is all about connectivity, so it also got the C1X chip, which the 17E also got, which gives you 30% faster efficiency, but then it also got the N1 chip, which is great for connectivity, and that enables things like Wi-Fi 7, Bluetooth 6.0, and thread support as well. So this thing is going to be a beast from a connectivity standpoint. It's going to be the latest and greatest and give you the latest speeds both on 5G as well as Wi-Fi at home. So in terms of all the differences you're getting, of course you're going from the M3 to the M4, you're getting 12 gigs of RAM versus the 8 gigs of RAM. You're going from 100 gigabits per second of bandwidth speed to 120 gigabits per second, which is about a 20% upgrade. You're going from Wi-Fi 6E to Wi-Fi 7, Bluetooth 5.3 to Bluetooth 6.0, you get the thread support, which is nice as well, and you're getting the new C1X modem. But then in terms of what's staying the same, physically, this thing is gonna look identical. You're getting the same exact chassis, the same aluminum design, the same exact display, which is still only 60 Hz. You still get the same Apple Pencil Pro support, the Magic Keyboard support, you still have the 3-pin connectors on the rear, the same USB-C speed, so you're not getting Thunderbolt speeds, you're still getting USB-C speeds, which is kind of unfortunate, especially in an M4 machine. You still get the same battery life, and you still get the same Touch ID and not Face ID, which again, I'm just not a big fan of Touch ID on the lock button on an iPad. So who should get this new M4 iPad Air? In my opinion, if you have anything older than an M1 iPad Air, then I think it's a worthy upgrade, especially if you are somebody who uses your iPad day to day, or if you maybe have an entry-level iPad like an A16 iPad and you want to upgrade to get just a lot more, that's going to be the biggest substantial upgrade because those iPads kind of look the same and feel the same. The displays are a little bit different in size, but for the most part they feel the same. But if you go from an entry-level iPad all the way to an M4 iPad Air, you're going to see substantial upgrades across the board from speed, efficiency, being able to do more things on it. And if you just use it for content consumption, even at that point, you're still going to get much faster speeds overall. But if you're somebody who has like the M3 iPad Air, or maybe an older iPad Pro, or something like that, then maybe hold off because there isn't going to be a lot of difference overall. But like I said, if M1 chip or older on an iPad Air, and you're looking for an iPad, it'll be a worthy upgrade. But if you can find an M3 iPad Air used for even cheaper, that could be a good one as well. But that'll do it, everybody. Those are all the differences between the M4 and the M3 iPad Air. Definitely get subscribed because we're going to be pre-ordering these, getting our hands on it, and comparing it to the iPad Pros of the world, comparing it to the regular iPads of the world, comparing it to itself with the M3 iPad Air to see if it's worth it or not at the end of the day. Because again, $600 is still $600 when it comes to an iPad. But let me know in the comment down below all the different things that you want to see about it, what you want to see tested, and whether or not you think it's worth it or worth the upgrade going from the M3 to the M4. That'll do it, everybody. If you made it to the end, leave a little dolphin. And if you guys want to watch more videos like this, check out one of these videos right here. Until next time, I'm Fernando. Peace.